story beats strategy when it's done right. You can have the best funnel, you can have the most amazing offer, but ultimately, if your audience doesn't feel anything, they're not going to buy anything. The businesses that we remember, the entrepreneurs we want to support, they all have one thing in common. They tell a very good story. And when some people hear this, they're gonna think it's about making something up, making up some sort of drama in your life, but it's actually the opposite. It's about telling the truth deeply and on purpose. Storytelling is a theme I've been thinking about for years at this point. It keeps coming up over and over and over again when I do my life planning. And the reason why it's been something I've been thinking about and why I've been so dedicated to it is because I truly believe that storytelling can completely change your life and your business. And here's the thing is I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs avoid storytelling. They feel like it feels too personal. They don't want to let people in that deeply. And they feel like sometimes it can feel unprofessional and off-brand. And I completely get what those people are thinking because I've been there before. This is something that I really spun my wheels around and really struggled to get a grasp on when I didn't know how to put myself in a box. So I was this person who had achieved success in corporate, but I was also this creative entrepreneur making really good money DJing. And I also jumped feet first into starting my own consulting business. But here's the thing, my brain was still in corporate mode. This is the thing about corporate and a lot of the times about the world at large and our society is it tries to constantly make you one thing. It tries to give you one story that is very linear and makes sense and is easy to comprehend and is digestible from beginning to end. Ultimately, my job didn't want to hear about me being a DJ, and honestly, it definitely could have held me back when advancing further along in the corporate world. The reality is they had a story about what it meant to be a DJ or a creative entrepreneur. You were this wild party person who wasn't thought of as responsible, despite the fact that that was not me at all. And the other thing is they really didn't want to hear about where else you're making income. It really could have been viewed as threatening, the fact that I could have a gig that honestly paid me how much I made in a month or in a week or in 2 weeks at my corporate job. So I continue to carry along this corporate and larger societal mindset with me when I started my business. I was trying to downplay the fact that I had actually achieved success in business before and was also trying to downplay my corporate experience in many ways, like the skill set that I had that allowed me to work with billion-dollar corporations, but at the same time, I was trying to downplay that I ever was a corporate employee. And I always say I barely made any money in my first year of business just because I was so hyper-focused and confused about how I should be presenting myself to the world and how to take the skills that I had and really package them into a business. And the reason why I was so confused is because I had this binary thinking. I was either this or that, when we all are so much more than just one thing or another. We are everything. We are the sum. We are the total of all of our experiences. And the reason why storytelling is gold for entrepreneurs is because ultimately people buy with their emotions and not with data. This took me so long to learn. It took me so long to wrap my head around because at the end of the day, I think of myself as a very analytical person. But even me, I purchase based off of emotions rather than data 99% of the time. That is what people lead with ultimately, emotions. People purchase with their feelings and then later use logic to justify their purchase. So storytelling creates so many opportunities for you to connect with your target audience, and it really helps you stand out in a crowded market. So a lot of the times you hear the question posed to entrepreneurs about what's your unique advantage? What's your secret sauce? What makes you stand out? And it's one thing to think about that question and have an answer, but it's another thing to be able to convey what your unique advantage is and what your secret sauce is to other people. So I always knew what my unique advantage was, but I didn't communicate it to people in a way that really roped them in and intrigued them in a way where they wanted to hear more of the story. But I really want to show you guys how your story is part of your strategy, whether you know that or not. If we really break it down, your brand pillars are shaped around your story. Your offer is shaped by your story. The value that you bring, what you're able to do for others, that didn't just come to be. It originated from a place. And obviously, if you create content for your business, then that content reflects the journey that you've taken, your story. And you can feel individually inside of you at your core when you're truly representing your story or not. I'll give you guys an example. I used to have a YouTube channel many years ago. It was about 50% business related stuff, 50% personal finance stuff. And even though I had a small channel, I would actually meet so many people who told me that they had seen a video of mine, or people in my ecosystem would be like, oh my gosh, I just watched your YouTube video. And you know what I felt? Complete embarrassment. Even though I thought the value that I was delivering through my content was great, ultimately I felt embarrassed because I was not showing up authentically in my videos. And even though the words and the things that I said in them represented my story, I didn't feel like the energy represented my story and who I truly am at my core. I was definitely trying to be who I thought I had to be in order to show up on YouTube. But now I show up exactly as I am. I'm 100% authentic to who I am. I don't try and put on a show of who I think I need to be. This is who I am in front of a camera, not in front of a camera. And recently, somebody in the professional world who I don't know personally told me that they had watched one of my videos. And honestly, I realized that I no longer feel cringe about that because I feel so proud that I deliver so much value and I show up as who I am. So all of these building blocks that support your strategy, whether it's your branding, your marketing, or your offers, are ultimately driven from your story. So let's talk about the different stories that entrepreneurs should be telling. The first is your origin story. Now, this is the one that everybody knows and that is top of mind because it asks the question of, who are you and how did you get to be here? How did you get to start your business? If you're looking for great examples of origin stories, you can watch a show like Shark Tank, and I have a video that I will link up above and down below in the description box where I really talk about why sharks and other investors actually are so much more invested in the entrepreneur standing in front of them and not necessarily always the business. So all of those things that people on the other side are looking to understand about you, whether those people on the other side are investors, are customers, are potential partners, they're looking to understand certain things. These things can be, can I trust you? Or do you have the skills that are required in order for us to take this further? In the sales process, these questions that they have are typically thought of as objections. So telling your story helps handle any objections that somebody on the other end might have when it comes to you, your business, your services, and of course, it helps you build that trust and connection with someone. The next story that every entrepreneur needs to have in their back pocket is the I've been there story, especially when it comes to your audience if you're a service-based business owner. This story is really powerful for connecting your audience to you and having them understand that you've been in their shoes. So for example, one of the ways in which I weave in the story is when I talk about how I was completely burnt out, how I literally was sleeping 12 hours a day, and how I could barely leave my room and my house for months. A lot of my potential customers, even if they themselves haven't actually found themselves at that level of burnout, they can understand feeling fatigued. And they will know that I'm somebody who has been there, knows what it feels like, and is a trusted partner in helping them get out of that situation and able to achieve more freedom, more flexibility, and ultimately work less in their business. So the thing about the I've been there story is ideally it's you who has been in your audience's shoes, but this isn't necessarily always the case. And it doesn't mean that somebody who hasn't exactly found themselves in the exact same pain point as their audience can't provide a valuable service. A lot of the times we start businesses because we see the pain points in a loved one, in a family member, a friend, whoever it might be. So telling the story of somebody who has witnessed other people go through it, that is also something that I see as falling into this category. Another story is the transformation story. In my opinion, this is one of the ones that is what allows people to actually swipe their card because they have that much trust, because they see a transformation that you're actually able to deliver. They see a before and after. And this transformation transformation story is very important to actually put on landing pages or in webinars or in places where people are gaining additional information about your services. And I feel like when a lot of people think of transformation and they think of before and after, they think about it in terms of photos. And while that might be relevant to some businesses and can be especially powerful, again, words and video, audio is really helpful in telling the story. So for example, a testimonial helps tell this story. When you have a customer who is saying, I was here and this person got me there, that is a transformation story. And for those of you who I referenced at the beginning who are still hesitant to lean more into storytelling because of this perspective of it not being professional or they don't want to overshare, I have a couple tips for you. The first thing is that you are probably centering yourself in storytelling, and a lot of the times while a story might have you as the central character, it's not actually about you. It's about something you did or how you impacted another person, and it's ultimately usually centering your customer. So I would say start off with stories that you can tell that are less about leaning into you and more customer or audience orientated. And another tip I would give is to tell your story in the medium and on the platform that is most comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be on YouTube or on Instagram, but again, it could be on a landing page. It could be in a call with a potential client. Pick a format that makes sense for you and is comfortable for you. And I totally agree that storytelling does not have to be about trauma dumping. It doesn't have to be all about you and revealing your deepest, darkest secrets. But think of it as opening up that dialogue with a potential future client. If you're enjoying this video, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe down below. And if you take anything from this video, I want it to be that your business isn't just built on information, it's built on connection. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.